welcome back to Devils United. First show in 20 days. I look a little bit different, a bit of a tan, but we're back. Nothing better than doing a Liverpool preview. Got 3 brilliant guests here. Jack, how are you?
Not too bad, Maisy. Thank you very much for having me on. I could do with a holiday. I don't, but you can see from my complexion, I never get out of the house. So, yeah, thank you very much for having me on. I can't wait to get stuck into today's show.
It's going to be good, and you know what? Just for you, I'll buy you a fake tan, and we'll have a spray tan together. What do you think?
Yeah, that would go well with our karaoke. There's some lovely, being on some good nights out in Manny anyway, so pretty sure.
Doug, how are you?
It's fantastic to be on the show, Maisy, and yeah, welcome back. I've missed you. I've missed all your streams, so it's great to have you back. And no, thank you very much for having me, and I'm looking forward to this very much so.
It's a pleasure to have you on, Doug, and I'm glad to be doing a show with you. And Reese, very nice green screen you've got there. How are you?
Call me Kirk Spice. Cheers for having me, Maze. It's a pleasure to be back on, and it's good to be in good company. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, brilliant, and nice to meet you, Kirk Spice. Brilliant name. Everyone's already in the chat at the moment, so hello there, who is already in the chat. Thank you for tuning into the channel. Oh, Liverpool game, a game what I absolutely dread the most, but. Jack, how do you feel like Liverpool has done for you so far this season?
Crazy. I was saying just before we come on live, if we do, hopefully do the unthinkable, but I grew up watching your United side be so dominant in every single year. That the quality of players, it was painful. I'm going to admit it, but you've got to appreciate what Ferguson was doing so well, and it's quite stark contrast. The roles were there from. Obviously, both clubs now with Jürgen at the helm, but just appreciating every single second of it. Me and Doug have been, a lot of Liverpool fans have been on cloud 9, and we're just enjoying every single second of it. I still have to bloody pinch myself half the time, the quality of players that we'll discuss tonight, but enjoying every second of it, and hopefully we do get a big result tomorrow, fingers crossed.
Oh, I'm dreading it. I am dreading it. Let's hope you don't get it and we at least get a draw. That's all I'm going to hope for, a draw at least. But let's bring Doug in for how he thinks the season has gone for Liverpool. And we'll go with this first joke here from Statman. Joke for Doug. How do you make an octopus laugh? Give it tentacles. Doug is the worst for his dad jokes, so I'm
I am the worst. I am the worst. That's out the Douglas Horn category of bad jokes.
That is actually a good joke there though from Statman. But Doug, is the quad on?
I'm going to be honest. I am probably one of those level-headed Liverpool fans that actually hasn't been even thinking of any quads.
What do you mean, Joe?
Honestly, I've been just thinking of each game as it comes. Like, I'm not even thinking of these quads talk or anything. I think it's just, as Virgil van Dijk said earlier today. It's been sort of all the media talk and all the like pundits talk. Like, I don't pay attention to any of it. I think it has been a very, very good season so far, considering where we were a number of months ago, like January. We were 14. Well, you could say it was 14 points, but we did actually have 3 games in hand. So technically, you could probably say it's about 8 points behind. To be 1 point behind City at this moment in time, and yeah, obviously. Win tomorrow, we're back up. We're back in front of them when they face a Brighton side who's beaten Tottenham and Arsenal back-to-back games, which is absolutely crazy. But no, I've been very, very happy with it, and a lot of our actual sort of second string squad has really stepped up this season. Like, I can think of Costas Tsimikas has really stepped up to the plate as well, and we've probably got the fiercest firepower in the Premier League at the moment. You know, you got Luis Diaz, Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, Diogo Jota, Roberto Firmino. You could even add Takumi Minamino in there. You could even add Divock Origi. it's just absolutely frightening, the squad depth that we have had this season.
Yeah. Jota for me is actually probably the player who I actually fear the most in this Liverpool team. It's not even Mo Salah, it's not Mane, it's not Firmino. It for me is actually Jota, just because I feel like he's improved so much, and I know it takes a little bit to get into Klopp's kind of regime, but this season he has really shown his true potential. And knowing that Firmino isn't getting these games because Jota is in such hot red form, it's hard to drop a player like Jota. And if he scores against us, I think I might just cry, to be honest. But Reese, I'm going to go for more negative with you about Manchester United on how you think our season has gone. And what do you fear most with this Liverpool side?
Our season. I don't remember anything good. Put it that way. Our season started with hope and a little bit of, I'd say, a bit of confidence that we're building something good, possibly go and do something. Like, I didn't expect us to win the league, but I expected us to actually make an effort, or even be challenging in a competition at least. We haven't really. Hope is a strong word, put it that way. So psychiatric examinations. But yeah, overall, like, our season was, you would expect the fact that we finished second last year behind a very strong Manchester City, you would expect United to go on and do something, regardless of whether Liverpool strengthened or Chelsea strengthened. You would expect United to be in the mix because they ended the season really well. The additions of like Ronaldo has probably been the one that's worked. Sancho's still fitting in. Varane hasn't, to a degree, worked. He's had good performances, but he's been injured. He's been inconsistent spells, and the partnership with Maguire has not worked to a degree. I think it could be other factors where the defence isn't settled, like the hangover from the Euros. I don't buy into that excuse because Bukayo Saka took 5 months, and then look at him now, he's flying. Jack Grealish is flying now for Manchester City. Phil Foden is flying. So as far as I'm concerned, I know your parents watch this. I'm just going to swear once, but the whole English hangover for me is bullshit. Like,
you forgot about a player who's flying called Mason Mount. You forgot about him.
That's because I really don't care. But in regards to that, though, like, the whole English hangover for me, it is complete nonsense. I think a good coach can get a player out of bad form out of a European tournament or World Cup tournament with ease. Arteta's not a great manager, but he's managed to do that with his young English talent. Guardiola is an example. He's going to get his talent going, playing really well. Even any players that play under Liverpool, though, I can't remember any Liverpool player that's English that went to the World, like the Euros. Doug, Jack, you'll be able to correct me. I really don't know, but they've flown. And yeah, to a degree, Mason Mount, he's done well. Sickening, but
I think the only Liverpool player that went to the Euros was Jordan Henderson.
Yeah, because Trent Alexander-Arnold left, didn't he, in the end? But
he was injured,
yeah, he got injured.
Did Henderson feature as much, though?
He did. He actually scored in the quarters or semi-finals. I think it was against Denmark.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I barely remember him playing, so that's why I asked. But in regards to that, though, a good coach, even not even a world-class coach, but a good coach can get players who have had a poor tournament to thrive. And for us, it's not worked in that degree. And we've been playing a squad that's supposed to be filled with talent. It's just not gelled at all this year. And we've had some good performances. I don't think you can take that away. We've had some good games, but it's not been enough. And from that, we exited the Champions League in the first knockout tie. Embarrassing. We exited the FA Cup on like the 4th round, 5th round to Middlesbrough on penalties. We should never went to penalties in the first place. The Carabao Cup, we beat West Ham in the league.
That was the first round.
Yep, we played them in the first round in the same stadium. Got very cocky with our changes. Got beat. So yeah, and now we're fighting for 4th place when we're not going to get it. Even though right now Tottenham and Arsenal have been dropping points, I still think it's in Tottenham's favour. I don't know, unless United have like dark magic and sneak into 4th place. I really don't know, but I don't think anyone's actually wanting 4th. Our season has went from a bit of optimism to there's 7 games left and I really don't care. Obviously tomorrow I'm up for it because obviously it's Liverpool. you want, even though we are going to get smashed, you really want to get up for it because it's the biggest game of the season. Other than that, I don't see any light. The only good light is at least the manager's been announced.
If you cannot get up for a game for Liverpool against Manchester United as a Liverpool player or a Manchester United player, then get out of the club. Because if you cannot get up for this game, the biggest game in English football, in my honest opinion, you can have your Manchester Cities, you can have your Arsenals, you can have your Chelseas. For me, this is the biggest game in English football. The history between the two sides is unrivaled. Like, Liverpool dominated the 70s and 80s. Manchester United dominated the 90s and the noughties as well. This rivalry is just whenever the fixture list comes out, the two teams I look forward to facing the most: Manchester United and Everton.
Yeah, I'm the same. I always look straight away for Liverpool. Like, when we play them home and away, I always look. And then even though it's not the rivalry it used to be, it still have an impact. I always look for the Arsenal games as well. Funnily enough, we play them on Saturday, but I always look for those two. Then I look for City. Like Leeds right now are in the league, so I look to Leeds before Manchester City. But
So do I.
I always look straight away for when's Liverpool, because I'm like, this is the one. Right? Even if we don't win a trophy, you want to get obviously you want to win a trophy in your season, but bragging rights between these two clubs is always going to happen. You want the bragging rights, and no questions asked. I want bragging rights tomorrow, but it ain't going to happen.
Well, if my friend from work is actually watching this stream, I really do hope that we do win this game, because I am going to get absolutely slaughtered in work next week if I see him. He'll literally come over to me, laugh his head off after what he done a couple of years ago, and he's messed up my whole workspace after Liverpool won the Champions League. I do not want this again. Please don't do it to me. That's all I'm asking. Do not do that to me. But to Chris's comment, I know a few United fans are going to the game tomorrow. A couple of my friends are going, so we might be able to see them on the TV. You never know.
I'll be watching as soon as I finish work. I will be plugging the laptop straight into the work monitor, and I'll be watching it on that.
Ravi has got a good question here for both Jack and for Doug, which I'll go to you first, Jack. Is the OG front three for the United game for you?
It's mad, innit? Because I think I was speaking before we come on here. Maisy, obviously Mane through the middle, especially against Manchester City. But I think City didn't have a Maguire, the Maguire centre half. I think Jota preys on. If you were playing a better opposition in terms of centre-back areas, obviously Bobby's more technical, a lot more intelligent in terms of game. But I think Jota can prey on those spaces between the 6-yard box and obviously the goal line. And obviously if it's Lindelof playing tomorrow or Maguire, I think for me, I'd go with Jota, just for the sheer fact of what I just said. The space in between obviously the defensive midfielder, whoever that is, Fred, McTominay, and then obviously the two banks of obviously defence in your midfield. So I'd go with, for me, Doug might say something different, but I'd go with Jota, obviously Mane off the left and then Salah. But it wouldn't surprise me if it was the same front three that started against City. But I'd go with Mane, Jota, and Salah for me personally.
What about you, Doug? What would you do?
I disagree totally. I like Jota. I don't think he's match fit, though. I don't think he's match fit. He came on at the weekend, and yes, I know obviously we were winning 3-1 at the time, but just did not look fit to me. So get so many games in a short space of time as well. For me, I don't see why you should change a winning team. So for me, it's got to be Diaz, Mane, Salah, because that front three worked to a treat against Manchester City at the weekend.
I'd only rest Mane for the Villarreal game because I think that's more of an important game. I think you can get away with playing. Look, we got Firmino and Jota. I think they very, very much do the job. But I see Villarreal as more of a threat than Manchester United, and obviously someone clipped that later.
We don't have Villarreal until after the Ev anyway.
Yeah, but it's the options, isn't it? Me and Doug have been getting a lot of Liverpool fans have been crying out for options, and we've got them. So whoever does play for me, but 100%.
Mm-hmm. It really does say a lot about Manchester United when you are hearing Villarreal is more a threat than Manchester United, and that is just where the tides have really gone for Manchester United. You put that reality straight in there for me there, Jack. I nearly had a tear right in my eye.
To be fair, if this was 10 years ago, we'd be saying the exact same thing against Liverpool.
Yeah.
We'd be saying the exact same thing, so I don't necessarily blame them in this case.
I wouldn't blame them neither, to be honest, but yeah, it's something that I thought we'd touch on a little bit just because it is actually breaking news about Derby, because Derby are now relegated. They've put on such a big fight in the Championship, and you do feel sorry for Wayne Rooney, knowing how the ownership has gone, how Derby has gone as a club, and the fight, the passion, the fans, the players, the manager has done to get as far as April without being relegated. It just shows a lot for me. But Reese, what did you think about this with Derby?
Bit unfortunate in the circumstance. Like, obviously they started the season with minus 20 points anyway. Like, it's not exactly feasible to survive, although they were fairly close. I just think they were a bit late starting to string points together and results. I think if they maybe started a bit sooner, it may have benefited them. But the fact that he at least got some of those players who were written off at professional level years ago, the likes of Ravel Morrison, Tom Lawrence, these obviously all like former United players, but academy players, like Ravel Morrison was the gem of the United Academy that last won the Youth Cup 11 years ago. Better than Pogba. Like, the fact that he's been able to actually get him playing consistently good football in that team is actually a testament to how good he is as a manager. But it's still not enough when you've had that points gap, the points disadvantage, the quality around the lower half of the league, which he's had to try and catch, the lack of resources, and also fundamentally, if you're starting on like minus 20 or whatever it is you're on, you're not necessarily going to do it. Like, I've seen only one other team start at that low points before, and that was up here. That was Hearts. They were on minus 25, I think it was, when they got relegated, but they finished with 15 points at the very end of the season. Like, that's just how hard it is, and that's a team of 12. That's a league of 12 teams, and you start at minus 25 and you finish on 12. It's not easy. At least they went down with Hibs that season. It was funny, but in terms of Derby, though, like a league of 24 teams, at least they weren't the worst of the league, though. I think that's actually a testament to them that they were actually not bottom. I think that's actually something that deserves a little bit of respect. But in all fairness, it was a little too late. But hopefully it gets them back up. But it all comes down to finances for next season. It depends on their ownership. And if it's the same owner or whatever it is, you can count your chickens on that.
Yeah. What have you thought about it as well, Doug?
Yeah, I echo what Reece says. I think Rooney's done a fantastic job. What he has had to deal with it. I think I read that it was obviously minus 9 to begin with, and then I think they had like another 21 point deduction, so they were deducted, I think, minus 30 points. Now, the fact that they've managed to get to April has been a testament to Wayne Rooney and his players himself. He seems to be very committed to getting them back up, which I think is great. He seems to be very committed to Derby as well. I think being at Derby is good for Rooney. I think being elsewhere, I think it's too early for him. Like, there's been talk of mentioning like Everton. For me, that's way too early. Way too early.
Yes,
it's
please.
too big. Too big a job for Wayne Rooney. But no, if he stays at Derby, I think he'll do well. And League One's not an easy league to get out of. We've obviously seen from Bolton Wanderers. Bolton Wanderers are still languishing down there. They look like they're not coming. They're not going to be in the playoffs. Sunderland are teetering on the edge of basically being out of the playoffs, which is hilarious as well. And obviously, you had Wiggins down there. I think Charlton are down there as well. It's just a very, very hard league to get out of. But if I'm Wayne Rooney, I'm staying at Derby, and I'm just trying to get a rebuild ahead of him, because I think, as much as it is a shame to see Derby go down, I do feel very, very sorry for them. But that Reading comeback against Swansea was absolutely incredible. 4-1 down, and they managed to get back to 4-4.
Yeah, definitely. Abdul made a comment here. Manchester United playing as an underdog against an awesome Liverpool team. However, if we play as a Manchester United with self-confidence, cooperation, respect and discipline, we can turn the tables. And that is a very interesting comment there from Abdul. So thank you for saying that there, Abdul.
Oh, it is. There's just one problem. I love the comment. I think that's spot on. There's just one problem with that comment, and it's the fourth word. It's discipline. United have not been disciplined in a very long time, and in regards to that, like, you could be very disciplined against Liverpool and you still get carved. Look at City. Like, City are a disciplined team, and they got carved open like a turkey at Thanksgiving. Like, that's just really what happens to a defence or even an organised team. I think for United, realistically, United need to last at least 60 minutes hoping the game is 0-0. It's not going to be easy, and I'm saying that in the nicest way. Like, 60, 70 minutes, hold it to 0-0, and then hope that, mind you, Liverpool's team's very fit. You spring a chance on Liverpool on the counter-attack. If you can, get some space, hoping that there's a gap between whether it's Matip and Van Dijk or Kanate, Van Dijk, whoever plays. If there's a little bit of space, any chance, we've got to take it, because I'll be very surprised if we get more than 5 chances, because that's how controlled I think Liverpool's going to have the game. For us, it's if we get one chance, we better hope it falls to Ronaldo, not... Well, actually, scratch that. I don't care who it falls to, just put the ball in the back of the net.
I don't even care if it comes from Maguire's bum. I really don't care. Let him twerk it in. I'm not bothered.
But he can't even score with his head, so why would you want it to bounce on his ass? That's not going to work either.
It would work if it goes in the back of the net. I don't care how it comes off somebody. As long as it's Alisson's net, not our own net, then okay.
I've got to say, you have to start better in this game, because what was it, 3 minutes we took the lead at Old Trafford, and then you just completely collapsed after that. So
it would have been 3 minutes to Norwich. Just remember that.
Yeah, thank you for the reminder, Doug. That has really made me feel very happy. But I actually think if we are going to get a chance against Liverpool, the weakest bit of the defence is the right-hand side with Trent Alexander-Arnold, and that is where we need to attack. If we need to put our strongest threat where Trent Alexander-Arnold's going to be, put Sancho there, and then put Ronaldo in the middle, try and do a long through ball from there, because as much as I think Trent Alexander-Arnold is brilliant at going forward, he's not that brilliant defensively. He needs the centre-backs for me to cover for a lot of his mistakes. He gives away possession quite a lot for me as a full-back as well. But I think if Liverpool need to have this chance, I would actually put Gomez there on the right back, because I actually think he's been brilliant as a right back when he has played as a right back. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I'd go with Trent personally. I think he pocketed Foden with ease this weekend. Didn't even have a sniff. Shout out to Foden's banner. Needs a better swim than that. Come on. I can't say none, but I'd go with Trent. But most importantly, I think, as you've already alluded to, all of you, is obviously the tempo. And I think Ronaldo can't be stropping around the pitch like he has done a couple of times this season. Obviously, everyone's commented already. It's the attitude and how you apply yourself. Yeah. And especially if it did get messy, you represent Manchester United Football Club, one of the biggest clubs in world football. And Ten Hag, whether he's in the stadium, could be, or obviously, or he could be watching at home, wherever. He will have a clear idea. Obviously, agreeing that contract at United, he will know, have his own blueprints. This till the end of the season, regardless if you get top 4, is a lot of those players. It's they have got to save their own career. Manchester United, they won't go to a bigger football club in world football than Manchester United. So it's up to them to. At the end of the day, before we had Jurgen Klopp, and obviously there was some players that I watched week in, week out, and you're like, I point to Ox as well. Ox, certain moments over the last 3-4 years have been really disappointing because these players, if it's Manchester United or Liverpool players, have got the ability. It's just that no one's going to help them. Like it's up to them really to put a shift in, and especially against the biggest game of United season and Liverpool's obviously the two biggest clubs in world football. They need a massive kick up the backside. So I go with Trent's right back as well. And it's got to be a team collective. I think it was when Bruno, certain games of Watch United, he's pressing, but the left winger and the striker are not pressing at the same time. So it's all got to be a cohesive unit. But it's a tackle even. I remember as a kid watching Gary Neville or Carragher going at each other the first couple of seconds. You need that. If it gets Liverpool's fans on side, but that's what you want. It's what Man United and Liverpool, regardless of obviously the quality on the pitch, used to batter us so many times the years gone by when I was a kid. But the thing that we had was at least we give it a go, and even if you are getting beat 3-1, you put a foot in and you give it a go. But I've watched this United side the last couple of weeks and months. I'm shaking me. I'm like, what are you doing?
to be fair, Jack, you mentioned that the times we were getting beat like 3-1, 3-2. That wasn't because of like Man United scoring. It was because Jamie Carragher was putting the ball in his own net. Yeah. Two goals a game. It was almost felt like
Maguire might even it out.
I have to say though, when you started mentioning players that you didn't think that worked hard enough, I thought you were going to say Christian Pulisic, Joe Cole. I was like, do not go back to those banter years. Honestly, 2010 was the worst season as a Liverpool fan. We had bloody Roy Hodgson as manager. Oh my days. I thought you were going to mention those days. Milan Jovanovic, that team was just utter dross.
Joe Cole on the first game, he got sent off. I remember.
I was there. I was at that Arsenal game.
Well,
sitting right behind him, actually making that tackle on that Arsenal player, and I oh sugar, he's off.
I just thought the highlight of that season was you were trying to play Hearts in Europa League. You tried to play them off the park, but you barely managed it.
Yeah.
Thanks to Luis Suarez' goal, we managed to nick it.
But it's mad that I'm talking about attitude for professional footballers, isn't it? Like, regardless how much you get, 20 quid, 100 grand, who cares? You're going out there to do a job. It's the basic, it's the bare minimum. But I think Rangnick and I didn't say obviously people running the club, but Rangnick, he's the main man. Rangnick and obviously Ten Hag now coming in. They pretty sure Rangnick could tell them exactly the players he needs to get rid of.
I honestly think that he is telling exactly who needs to, like, quote unquote, get to hell. Like, I cannot wait. Yeah. Like I said, it's not worked out in terms of like results and all that, in terms of like where we want to go. But I said to Doug the day he got the job, he will be judge, jury, executioner of these players, and he's going to be in a month and a half's time.
Basically, the player I'm thinking of is an insult to fridge freezers. But there we go.
I don't think he'll be the first to go, but the scary thing is though, is I've seen like reports earlier on saying he may get sold, or he'll just take the captain's armband off him.
Needs to take the captain's armband.
He's a shocking captain.
True. I think if you take the captain's armband off Maguire, there's less pressure. He gets focused on actually just doing his job as a defender. It might actually, mind you, I say that with like grit in my teeth. Like, it may actually allow him just to concentrate on his football, and you've got somebody else who understands about leading a football club, might actually be able to do the job whilst he just tries to command the back line.
That's exactly what I think, though. I think a player at Manchester United, they have less pressure with the captain's armband. They have less pressure even off the number 7 shirt number. You've seen it in the past, for instance, like Valencia. He got given that number 7 and he didn't work for him. When he took it off, he worked a lot better without it. And that could potentially be it for Harry Maguire. I'm not saying... We've seen good things of Harry Maguire at Manchester United. I've been highly critical of Maguire. Do not get me wrong. I'll hold my hands up. I have been critical. But sometimes when you get given that little bit less responsibility, it can work a long shot. We've seen Bruno Fernandes has done leadership roles. Varane is a possible leader for me someday in the future if he buckles up down at Manchester United. There isn't, for me, too many captain materials. People say De Gea, he's not vocal enough for me. You need a vocal player to be your captain.
I'm never a fan of giving the goalkeeper a captaincy. Never, ever been a fan of giving the goalkeeper a captaincy.
Yeah. It's very rare for a goalkeeper to actually succeed as a captain. Like, I think in terms of world football, like the most successful captains is Yashin, Kahn, Zoff, Buffon, and Casillas.
Yeah.
In terms of and that's probably it. In terms of overall, that's 4 or 5.
Is it Neuer as well? Is he captain for Bayern?
Yeah, he's a Bayern and Germany captain actually. But he wasn't the World Cup captain though. But he did captain the Confeds Cup. Yeah, exactly. So there you go. 5
I wonder
or 6.
why Lloris wasn't so good.
Don't get me started on Lloris. I think he's
let's just not go there. But 5 or 6 generally captains as goalkeepers. I do agree. I think you have to have a certain commanding personality to succeed as a captain if you're a goalkeeper. But I always prefer my captain to be like the midfielder or a centre back.
That's the thing with Liverpool. Sorry, Maisy. But when you look at our squad, you probably go Robbo's Scotland captain, Alisson, Van Dijk, Dutch. Every single position in our squad, they're all captains, and regardless if Henderson is playing or not, the captain themselves. Jürgen probably walks into that changing room. He doesn't need to say a word. You all look at each other and go, start doing your job. And even United's gone by as well in the 90s. There were so many Roy Keane and Neville's. There was captains on the pitch, and they didn't really need the captain's armband to represent them being captain. They led by example. And some of the players at the minute at United need to actually take note of that.
I know Ashley as well asked me about that goal, that free kick from Ronaldo, and I just want to say it was absolutely brilliant. I was actually saying, please, Ronaldo, do not do this free kick. Do not do this free kick. I was literally saying it. I think he even said on the group chat, do not do this free kick. It's good. It's just a matter of you take your chances, and Norwich is bad, very bad. And
should have saved it.
Rich, for me, has made a very good point. Maguire is bad. Wan-Bissaka and Dalot is worse. I agree with that.
Oh, Jesus.
100%.
I remember when you bought Wan-Bissaka as well. Everyone was saying, oh, let's compare him to Trent. Let's compare him to this, to that. I honestly don't know what's happened to him. He just seems to have just gone completely backwards. I remember when he was at Palace, he was a very, very good up-and-coming young player. But just since then, you keep changing your right-backs. This is what really, really gets me with United, is that you keep changing your right-backs. 1 week it's Wan-Bissaka, 1 week it's Dalot. It's the same with the left-back. It's either Shaw or it's either Telles. You need a balanced back four to play week in, week out. Look, this is the thing with Liverpool. We've got Trent, we've got Robertson, you've got probably Gomez at right back, you've probably got Tsimikas at left back, you've got Kanate, you've got Matip to come in as well. You need a balanced back four, and I think that's where some of your problems are this season, is that you haven't had a balanced back four. Now, you look at us last season, 2021, most of our defenders were being injured. So we had Reece Williams, we had Ozan Kabak, we had Nat Phillips to coming in. Hendo, we had Fabinho as well. Yeah, it's just... I actually worry for you guys tomorrow. I actually do. I honestly think if we get an early goal, the floodgates could really open. I think you're in for a very torrid time tomorrow, because it is the first game since the 33rd anniversary of Hillsborough, and I think it's going to be an absolutely magnificent atmosphere tomorrow.
It will be, and you know what? I agree with that. If we concede early, we're done for. I really do think that, and I think we'll get battered 6, even 7-0. Because I look at that Manchester City, I was speaking about this to Jack. Man City's attack is nowhere near as good for me as Liverpool's attack. You look at the front three of Man City compared to the front three of Liverpool, consistent Liverpool's a massive threat. Whereas you look at City's, they're changing all the time. Foden, Jesus, Grealish, blah, blah, blah. Whoever Pep decides to put from. Might even want to put De Bruyne as false 9 one day, but it changes consistently. Whereas you see this chemistry into this Liverpool team and you know it works. And that is something what I really do fully fear for. And to Ravi's question, we've got 5 players out. We're out of Scott McTominay, Fred, Edinson Cavani, Luke Shaw's out for the remaining of the season, and Varane is out. So we've got Maguire and Lindelof playing.
Yikes. You've named midfield then. Who's going to play in midfield?
It will.
Probably
I think it's going to be... Yeah, I think maybe Matic will play. I think he will start Matic.
You need that DM at least. I know he's slow, but...
Yeah.
The thing is with Matic, even though I think he's slow, I think he's so good. Like, he's just one of them players where he will just stand in front of Maguire and Lindelof and go, come at me, I'll slide tackle you. He's one of them kind of players. He'll just try and get the ball. He'll win it back. His passing is brilliant. You've seen him a couple of times this season, Matic, where he's actually gone forward. He provided an assist against West Ham for one, and that was Lingard's goal, I believe, what actually won us the game.
Right. That's right.
And I just think his presence is going to be missed, especially when he leaves at the end of the season. I think it's a wrong decision of Manchester United to let him go. I really do.
He was our best player in February as well. He was our best player for the whole of February.
Yes, exactly. It does say a lot. It says a lot. And Mata is another one. His intelligence on the ball is remarkable. I'd rather have a more of an aging midfield rather than have headless chickens in the midfield, not knowing where they're going. And this is something about Manchester United, as well as the defence, the midfield is out of position. No one knows where they are. They don't know where the position is. They don't know where to mark. You look at Telles, he's so far up the pitch, he can't defend. You look at Bruno, 1 minute's a false 9, 1 minute's a right wing player, 1 minute's a centre-back. You don't know where Bruno plays. Yeah. You look at Maguire, he goes far up the pitch. When the team counter-attacks, he can't keep up.
When Maguire's halfway up the pitch, I literally just switch the stopwatch on my watch, and I'm just like, I literally just hit play, and I'm like, let's see how long it takes him to get back. 17 seconds later, yeah, you'd do well against Usain Bolt in a sprint. Like, that's generally what I do. Like, I time him 9 times out of 10. Like, that's just how bad he is. But I just look at tomorrow where I would honestly play Lindelof and Bailly together. I think at least Lindelof is good at carrying the ball. Bailly at least got recovery pace. The only thing is, Bailly's injury record very worries me, but I would rather play someone who has a very poor injury record, but at least he's got the ability to get the ball back and track back and he's committed, than someone like Maguire who will actively mark his own team or do his best Shawn Michaels impersonations and just knock his own team out. I would rather have that than I would rather have that. Like, generally, that was the funniest thing against Norwich. You know that we beat them is the fact that Maguire turned into prime Shawn Michaels and knocked out Pogba. Like, that's our problem.
With Ronaldo, he had putted Ronaldo.
Oh,
I know, like that seems to be Maguire's role in this team. Let us concede, attack the team, throw the armband, don't do interviews. The Harry Maguire way. But I generally think, in terms of like next season, like a lot of these players, if they are going to stay, I think clean slate's a bit of a wrong decision. But I think some of them are on their last chance where they really need to buck up. But in terms of tomorrow, whoever plays, I don't care who plays tomorrow. Whoever plays, if they don't bother, then I want their contract scrapped. I want it scrapped. I don't care. Like Pogba as well. Like the way he jogged in the box against Norwich after Pukki stole Dallow's soul. The fact that he just jogged when Norwich were about to score for me was disgusting. Like Dallow was poor. Jogs. Yeah, Dallow was poor. I'm not going to take that away. He was poor for the first goal, positioning wise, and Maguire was doing his usual pointing fiasco, and Elanga was caught. But even so, like the fact that he's jogging in the box when Norwich are about to score, like you can't have that. Like if that was any other team, Like if I was like Liverpool or if that was Man City, you would get dropped for the next game because it's unprofessional.
Paul Pogba has to be the most troublemaker in the Manchester United squad that I think I've ever seen. He cannot keep his bloody mouth shut. Like
Agreed.
he always spraffs to French media or anything like this. If I'm Manchester United and if I'm really, really wanting to have a big, big rebuild, he's one of the first to go. He's an absolute troublemaker. I wouldn't want him in the Liverpool team. I don't know if Jack. I know Klopp makes very, very good players, very average players into very, very good players. But for me, Pogba's just a troublemaker. Cares about his hair too much anyway. So.
I actually can't name 10 good appearances from Pogba since he's come back to this Manchester United team. I actually don't even want him back. I don't even want him back at I didn't want him back at Manchester United. I didn't want him in the starting 11. People was like, he played as a defensive midfielder this first season. Give him a chance. And then you're having all these Pogboom and all that. Pogboom.
There's so many things wrong with it, and it's the one thing I don't like is if Pogba has a bad game, it's Bruno's fault. If Bruno has a bad game, it's Pogba's fault. No, they have a bad game because they have a bad game. Crap. Like it's not because of it doesn't have that impact. And Pogba's supposed to be a world-class player, playing amongst average players. That's fine. I get that. But a world-class player should be able to elevate an average player to at least a very good performance.
If you've got an average team around you, though, you should be the one who's standing out. You should be standing out.
I agree. Look at Henderson. Henderson gets slagged about, but he rises to the occasion.
People are saying it's because he hasn't got a CDM. He's played alongside Matic and Herrera, who I would actually say was probably our best midfield post Sir Alex Ferguson. I really do believe that. And he couldn't even accelerate in there then. If he couldn't accelerate, knowing that he's got Matic and Herrera, it says a lot of the player. It really does say a lot of the player. But we'll go to Ashley's question here for Jack. Do you think players have more power than the manager?
Not at Liverpool, not at City, but I think the players, the environment that they're in, and that they themselves create at a certain football club. You look at Everton, Calvert-Lewin, he's more asked about boohoo.com. Sponsor Maisy in the future. Shout out to Boohoo. But yeah, it's the environment that was created. When you had Ferguson, you knew he was the dad of the group, he's the figurehead of Manchester United. But go back to Pogba as well. Ferguson allowed him to leave on a free, didn't he? And that just says, obviously, the people at the top of the club at the current moment in time at United, he was a marquee, he sells shirts, he's good on social media and all that. But it's the environment that the current crop of Manchester United, they've dictated far too long with all these managers. And Mourinho, and whether you like him or dislike him, he outed a lot of the players before they left as well. And you only have to listen to his interviews post Manchester United. But certain clubs, yes, Ashley, 100% they do dictate. But at the big clubs, whether Jurgen Klopp and obviously Pep Guardiola, and even Ferguson to that extent as well, and other clubs around Europe that have got a strong leadership, but you need leadership from the top, as in, i.e. the manager, not the people running the club, because the manager's he controls the whole football club, whether that be transfers, social media and everything. It's probably too much social media, but at the end of the day, some of the stuff I've seen from United players and even Liverpool players in the past, you're like, come on, give your head a wobble. Enough statements now. The statement should be on the pitch, not 20 minutes after the final whistle's just gone, where your PR players, the modern day footballers now, not just the Man United, but
I agree.
It's almost scripted. It's like, how many statements can you put on social media? When is enough? But yeah, at certain clubs, actually, 100% you do. And I'd include Everton, United at this current moment in time. The players rule the roost. And obviously Chelsea, when they had Lampard, Drogba, Terry's of the world. Certain big players dictate changing rooms, but the big players, they win trophies. But they'd have a leg to stand on if they were winning trophies. So yeah, long-winded answer, but
no,
it
I
was a
think
good
he's spot
answer.
on.
Yeah. You was
Spot on.
absolutely spot on. I agree with that 100%. And I know a lot of people have been asking me the same question in the live chat. So before we do our score predictions and the lineup predictions, we will discuss it. Erik ten Hag, here we go. Manchester United manager due to be announced tomorrow. That's how I feel. Our weight has been lifted off my mind. I'm absolutely over the moon that we have got Ten Hag. He's a manager who I have wanted at Manchester United for a while. But he's got a big, massive step, big, massive responsibility on his hands. But this is a good time for him to come to Manchester United for me, in the respect that to rebuild. You've got 4 players out of contract. Matic is going. That's easily 5 players already who's already leaving Manchester United. That's half of your starting 11. And then not including that, other players are going to probably want to go as well. If that's Ronaldo, if there's no Champions League, if that's, of course, De Gea, just because he's not suited for Erik ten Hag's kind of style of play. So there's loads of opportunities there for Ten Hag. We've seen that he has built Ajax twice. He had Donner, he had De Jong there, he had Ziyech beforehand. He'd gone to the semi-finals. And then, of course, he lost 5 players, rebuilt it. And that team, Anthony, Timber, my personal favourite. He's got my heart, by the way. I want him at Manchester United, but brilliant there from Ten Hag. But what we need to do as a club, we need to back him. Whatever he needs, we need to back him, because you've seen in the past, Mourinho hasn't been backed, Van Gaal hasn't been backed. Yes, they've won trophies, but they've got half a built team. And then we're having to rebuild all over again because everyone's got a different style of play. So give him the backing, give him the patience and the time, and hopefully this is it. But for you, Reese, what have you thought about this?
I know, obviously, I watched the cup final yesterday, and I thought, despite the defeat, I thought it was a very good game. I thought the way he handled the situation as well is reflecting of how good a manager he is. Of course, PSV went on to win 2 very fast goals in the second half. At least you got to see VAR being done properly. That's the difference. VAR's actually been done properly within 60 seconds of a offside decision. But obviously, that's just dissecting the game. But in terms of just United, I'm a bit surprised that United actually announced it before the Liverpool game. I thought they would have done it afterwards. But in all respect, we respected Ajax's wishes. We gave them the Dutch Cup final, which I think was the right thing to do. And the fact that they've now agreed to get the contract, it's just a matter of getting the right thing. Obviously, we're getting his assistant as well. It's not going to be a hand-picked assistant like Van Persie or Steve McLaren or whatever. It's his assistant at Ajax that's coming with him as well, which I think is great. It has to be his staff. It cannot dilute any further than that. He does have a lot in his hand. I do agree with you. He does have a lot to do. He needs to get a structure above him as well, whether it's going to be Myrtle running the things, or if they bring in Paul Mitchell as the deputy director of football to work with, which I think is a very smart decision. For him, though, very good manager. It's just about he needs his structure to get his team in. I also agree with you about patience. Whoever he brings in next year, they may not adapt straight away, but for the likes of Liverpool or Man City, they're willing to give their players time. Their fans are willing to give those players time to settle in bed. Even if they're crap for a year, they know they will, in games, turn up. Like Thiago, phenomenal talent at Bayern Munich, came into Liverpool and he was crap for about 3 months. And that's because he just couldn't adapt to the league. And it's because he was a technical player and he was very injury prone as well. He just couldn't adapt. Look at Keita as well for Liverpool in the midfield. The exact same circumstance. Very energetic, injury prone. He's finally starting to show himself. Jota's adapted really well. Credit to him. Salah's maintained form. It's about United in the same manner. We need to give whoever comes in patience, let them embed into his system, his team, however he wants to do it, whether it be with a double pivot or he plays in a 4-3-3. He's adaptable for both. He just needs time and patience, and I'm going to give it. I'm looking forward to seeing where we're going. But the one thing for me that he really needs with him is he needs a structure above him that's going to back him rather than a structure that's going to detriment him. We cannot afford to have another manager be torn apart by this squad because it just cannot continue.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that completely. I know Ashley said, don't let Cavani hear me say that. And to be honest, Cavani isn't my beautiful man anymore.
He needs
He's just
to go.
a man. He's just a man now. He's not my beautiful man now. He's disappointed me too much. Far too much now. But for you, Doug, in terms of a Liverpool perspective, what have you thought about this appointment for Ten Hag?
I think it's a oh, excuse me, voice breaking. I think it is a very, very good choice. I'm glad you haven't gone for like a Pochettino or anything like that. But I have to say this now: you have to be realistic in the expectations the next season. You cannot go from basically challenging for top 4 to thinking that you can just challenge for the title.
Agreed.
Just do it step by step. Challenge for the top 4, then maybe next season bring in a couple of other players, then challenge for the league. You cannot go from being, as I said, top 4 contenders to potentially just qualifying for maybe the Europa League or. I mean, I would stay well clear of that Conference League, by the way. I know, obviously, Leicester City fans wouldn't please me with saying that. But what I will say, you have to be realistic in your expectations. And I think it's a very good appointment. But I do think he will need time to adapt. He will need time to get to the bottom of this, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And same question for you, Jack.
Yeah, 100%. I think the interesting point that Reese mentioned and you, Maisy, everyone in the comments tonight, it's time and obviously structure. Obviously, Saka managers hasn't worked for United post Mourinho in terms of trophies. What Jurgen done very well was he come in with a clear idea and vision, and obviously we've seen that at Dortmund, his time at Mainz as well. The structure in place at Manchester United, I'm pretty sure there's a load of youngsters that are very talented. And Ten Hag, the one thing that him and obviously Guardiola and Klopp, as much as the money they've spent, they've promoted youth. And obviously the class of 99, there were so many great Manchester United players, obviously from Carrington and the training facility as well. So time and obviously Ten Hag implementing his philosophy. It's not going to happen overnight, and obviously we spoke about the players that should and shouldn't be at the Manchester United Football Club. They're on big contracts, and we had it with Jurgen. We knew exactly who we wanted, but we had to wait 1 or 2 seasons for them players to either run out their contract or someone to come in and say, yeah, we'll take them off your hands. But having a clear philosophy, him implementing that and having time, it's not going to happen over the space of 2 years. It took Jurgen 3-4 seasons, but what we've seen with Jurgen was every single year there was an improvement on the pitch. You could understand, you watch the game, you're like, I think even Jurgen come in straight away, and even that game against Tottenham away, you understood his philosophy of gegenpressing straight away. But what we've transitioned over the last 2 to 3 years, we've learned that you don't have to run 120 bloody mile an hour every single second. If we're winning a game 2-0, then we're just sound. We're content. But that helps with obviously the development of players and obviously bringing in 1 or 2 fresh faces to really. Van Dijk and the Jotas and the Salahs, they weren't the players that they are now currently, that are obviously at the peak level. But even if you're going in for, say, an Andy Robbo type player for what, 8-10 million? On social media, people are going, oh, well, I'm going to go in X, Y, and Z, the £70 million player. That doesn't always guarantee you success if you're going out buying these big, high-priced players. If Ten Hag brings in, say, Timber at 15-20 million, or just trusting his development of players. But it will be interesting, the battle at the top of United, whether it's the continued marquee Instagram player or if it's Ten Hag's player profile of a player, if you get me.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I want the latter. Sorry, Maisy, that's what I want. I want the Ten Hag player, not the marketable bollocks. I don't want that anymore. Man United make enough revenue of everything else. I don't want commercial players anymore. I want a football team of players that actually give a crap. That's what I want.
I agree with that completely. And as well, with the team being so unbalanced, we need to have a Ten Hag kind of play, kind of team. Like obviously, we've seen the Sir Alex Ferguson players. There's no longer David Maisy is going to be basically done after this season. You still got some Van Gaal players. You still got a couple of Ollie players there as well, Mourinho players. It's just such an unbalanced team. And having this clear out in particular, we need a Ten Hag kind of players, the team what Ten Hag would build at Ajax if he was still remaining there at Ajax. For me, it's not about if the player is world class. It's about if the player is able to do the job. You look at Sir Alex Ferguson players. How many players in that team would you consider world class? You would not consider every single player in that starting 11 a world class player. You really wouldn't. It's about if they can put that graft in. You look at Anderson, for instance. Is he a world class player? No.
Park as well. I love Park.
Very underrated. Yeah. Very underrated Park. Player.
Very
Them
good player.
Players are not classed as world class players, but they helped the squad massively. They helped with trophies. They helped with these points, goals, whatever the position of these players done, depending on each player. So it's just about how it works in terms of the squad. We don't need world-class players in every single position. It's about if the player works. You can have 11 brilliant players, and if it works, it works. You even look at that Leicester squad who actually won the league. Were there any world-class players there? No. They weren't classed as a world-class team. They was classed as an average team who worked very hard, but now they're classed as who people would say Jamie Vardy, near enough at world class. They had Kante in there, who is considered for me the best defensive midfielder in the league. So there's loads of different ways, and I just don't think we need to look at aiming for world class players, in my opinion.
I agree. We need a pathway. We need a pathway for the youth players as well. I think one thing that is good is we've got a manager who will want to believe and promote young players. We need to find the right pathway, whether we do what Guardiola did with Foden, where he has one particular player that he has his eyes on, that he doesn't loan out. He actually keeps in the squad. He'll play like 5 or 6 league games. He plays them in, like, say, the Carabao Cup, 1 or 2 FA Cup games, but he doesn't play them in like the very big games. Like, he won't play that youth player against City, Liverpool, Arsenal until he feels they're ready. But then anybody who think, actually, I can mould a spine around, I'll loan them out for a year to like a championship club like, say, Forest or Swansea, who have actually done very well. Like with the likes of Garner, Ethan Laird, who I think shouldn't have went to Bournemouth. I think he should have stayed at Swansea, in my opinion. But I think we need that sort of pathway. And if we can do that, then it'll be great for going forward. There's some players I think could possibly go into the starting 11 right now, because looking at our first team in certain positions, they aren't good enough. And it'd be great to just give these senior players a kick up the backside with a couple of youth players, just to remind them, like, there's some youth players coming through. We do need that pathway, and I'm hoping that we find something. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm hoping that's something that we figure out over the summer. That's another thing for me.
Mm-hmm. We'll end the stream now. We'll do our score predictions and our lineup predictions. I'll go with you first, Jack. What's your lineup prediction? What's your score prediction? Be a bit nice for me, please, so I don't cry.
I want to come on your show next time. So, I'll go. Obviously, I'll in goal with starting 11. I go with Trent right back. Joel Matip, I think, might come back in for me personally. Van Dijk on the left centre back as well. I'll play Kostas. Obviously, we've got Everton as well coming up, so I'll go Kostas. Won't be surprised if Robbo does start, but I go Kostas, Fabinho, Thiago, and Naby, and then I go Mane on the left, Jota through the middle, and Salah on the right. And score prediction. Oh, Doug's going to be shaking his head. It was like, because he knows me. I'm going to go 5-0. And watch it, Doug. I won't be getting an invite from Maisy.
Just wait to hear Maisy's prediction, Jack.
Yeah, so I'd go 5-0, but I'd happily take a 1-0. But I'd go 5-0. I've watched his against Norwich in the last couple of weeks. Not being harsh, but
Yeah.
Anything's possible with Maguire centre half. So,
well, nobody's favoured us anyway so far in the chat. A draw's actually been our most favourable so far. So, thank you so much, Jack, for the score prediction. You haven't made me cry as much as I thought you would have done, so it's okay. Doug, what's your lineup and score prediction? Please be nice to me because you might break my heart.
Ali in goal, Trent right back. I just think because he was just so good the weekend, I'm going to Kanate a start. Kanate and Van Dijk at the back. I think Costas might come in for Everton, so I'm going to say that Robertson will play this game. Then I'm going to go Fabinho, Thiago, and Naby Keita. Oh, apparently Gabby Agbonlahor thinks he says Rodri is the best CDM in the Premier League because Fabinho can't run. I stopped reading when it was Gabby Agbonlahor. Enough said. And then I'm going to go Diaz, Mane, Salah up front. And as a score prediction, I'm going to be slightly kinder. I'm going to go 3-0 Liverpool.
Thank you for being a bit nicer than Jack. It means a lot. Thank you. Reese, what's your score prediction and your lineup prediction?
Well, obviously, last night I spoke to Liverpool fan and Irish professional footballer Jack Doherty, so I'm going to stick with the same lineup and score prediction. So I'm going to go De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka right back, Tellez at left back because we're not going to play Fernandes because that would be career suicide. Centre backs Eric Bailly and Lindelof for me. I think Maguire should not play. His lack of pace in this game is asking for trouble. Midfield Matic. I know Andrew doesn't like it that I'm going to say it, but I have literally no other choice because at least his pressing ability in midfield actually benefit is I would play Lingard in the midfield, to be honest. I think his pressing ability in the midfield is actually all we've got. I would play Fernandes beside him. And I honestly, I don't think we should play a back five. I know a lot of fans want us to play back five. I think we should just match them as a free. I think we play a back five, we're asking for trouble. So Matic, Lingard, Bruno in midfield. And then front three, I'm sticking with Sancho, Ronaldo, and I think Rashford comes in, but I would prefer Elanga. But I think Rashford's coming in. And I don't see us getting anything, personally. But I am not going for a slaughtering because I just can't do it to myself. I just can't do it. So I'm saving face. I'm saying 2-1 Liverpool. I don't think we're going to get anything. If we get a draw, great. But I think it'll finish 2-1. Although that's me saying it, I don't think it will.
Andrew asked for you, Doug. Did anyone predict 3-2 for Liverpool?
You did.
If you're meaning the league game, there were a lot of 3-2s. But the cup game, I didn't actually do a preview for the cup game. But Andrew, if you said 3-2, then fair play, my friend. Absolutely fair play.
Let's do my lineup now. De Gea in goal. I think Dalot will stay in his position. I think it's going to be Maguire staying where he is. So let's hope he does a twerk in the box and gets a goal. I think Lindelof is going to get in. I would love to see some more Lindelof crosses. I will make sure I word it right because last time I worded it wrong and everyone laughed at me. I like to see Lindelof crosses, get it to Sancho from the other side of the pitch. See if that works.
She means Lindelof balls. Just... That's what she means.
I didn't. Don't listen to him. Bad influence, Reese. I think Tellez is going to remain where he is. Luke Shaw's out for the remainder of the season. I think Matic will come in because we need that defensive midfielder. Pogba, Bruno also remaining in the midfield. And I think it's going to be Elanga on the left. No, Sancho on the left, Elanga right, and then Ronaldo up front. Because I think Sancho has been a lot better on that left-hand side. He seems to work better from what we have seen, so I think he will stay where he is. In terms of score prediction, if we concede early, we're going to lose 6-0. That I'm literally going to come out and say it. We'll lose 6-0 if we concede early. But if we do what Reese has said, which I wanted us to do at Atletico, wait till second half and have a 0-0, I think we'll actually draw 1-1. But otherwise, I'm sorry, United fans. I hope you bring your blindfolds if you're at the game tomorrow. I hope you have your blindfolds when you're watching out the TV, because we will get battered.
I'll have what Vincent's having, though. He's still saying United 4, Liverpool 0.
I
will
love
have what
Vincent and
he's
his bold
having.
predictions. This is why Vincent's my favourite. This is why Vincent's my favourite United fan. Because he makes bold predictions and he makes me happy with these bold predictions. But we'll shout out everyone's socials. Jack, thank you so much for coming on. Finally doing a show with you. It's been an absolute pleasure. Would you like to shout out your socials?
Yeah, it's Jack Mac LFC. Thank you, Maisy. Great to speak to Reese and Doug again, and everyone in chat. Obviously, I'm open. Yeah, I'm open. We do have a good game. I know I went a bit mad with my score prediction, but at the end of the day, as I said, I'll take a 1-0. And we've played football in the park, and we watch football, enough football, every single one of us. Sometimes teams can be not at the races, but Liverpool have got to be straight out there, and we've got to go approach the game with the right attitude, most importantly. But thank you, Maisy, for having me on. I'm pretty sure it won't be on next time if it is 5-0. But Jack Mac LFC on all socials.
Don't worry, even if you batter us, I'll have you on again. Don't worry. Don't worry about that. Doug, thank you so much for coming on again. It's been a pleasure. Would you like to shout out your socials?
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you very much for having me. Yeah, the Dugout Football Channel, literally in 49 minutes, these three will be on my channel doing a preview for Liverpool Manchester United. We've also got Sophie Richards. We've got Dave, Connor. Yeah, it's going to be carnage, actually. It's going to be absolutely carnage, but I'm very, very much looking forward to it as well. That is my Twitter handle there, _1982. Instagram is Douglas.Horn, and you can get me on Facebook, Douglas James Horn. And I'm also on Twitch at twitch.tv/Douglas Horn LFC 92.
Brilliant. Reese, always a pleasure to have you onto the channel as well. Thank you for coming on. Would you like to shout out your socials?
Thank you very much for having me on. It's good to chat to the three of you. I don't particularly like Liverpool or Liverpool fans, but I'll let you guys off because you guys are sound. And Doug's actually a very scary giant live in person. Just kidding, Doug, you're not. Just kidding. He's not. We're actually the same height, pretty much. It was great. For me, of course, it's Devils Rising on YouTube and Twitter. Reese_Light1997 on Twitch. I am back this week. I've been all over the place with sorting stuff out and shit, so it's not been easy for me. The Weekly Armchair Sports Talks where I am as well. You can find me on there. Where I done a preview last night, a one-on-one conversation with Jack Doherty, as I mentioned before the predicted lineup and score prediction. I spoke to him last night, which was really good fun. And also, you'll find me on Dugout Football Channel in about 45 minutes. And I'm always there on a Monday night causing hell, which is literally how I live, cause hell.
That is your name. That is your name, causing hell and causing carnage.
Absolutely. But for me, it's literally just like chatting football, having fun, and being good conversation with good folk. And especially with these three, I could do this for hours, honestly, and I wouldn't feel tired. So thanks for having me, as always. And it was a great show.
That's really nice of you, Reese. Cheers.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have all three of you on. You're all brilliant, brilliant people, brilliant podcasters. If you haven't already, check out all three of their YouTube channels. It's in the link in the description below. I will be live on Friday. I'll be actually doing an Arsenal preview with Luca and with Tariq. Both two brilliant Arsenal fans, so you can catch it through there. I'm trying maybe squeeze in a Manchester United women preview. We'll have to see. But we might be able to do a Liverpool women preview next season, Doug. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I know. That the Liverpool women are back up, and hopefully they do a little bit. Hopefully they do a little bit better than they did last time. But I'm looking forward to that as well.
It will be brilliant. But everyone, check it all out. Check Doug's out at 8 o'clock. But until then, we'll see you soon. It's a goodbye for now.